You're watching TV9 News and I'm Prajwal D'Souza. Now, Israel has gone to the polls for the fourth time in 2 years. The exit polls have not predicted a clear winner. Will Benjamin Bibi Netanyahu return as the country's prime minister? Here is a brief report. Now, why has Israel gone to the polls for the fourth time in 2 years? Well, just in a span of 2 years, Israelis have voted in the country's fourth election. Now, Israel's unicameral legislature, which is also known as the Knesset, was officially dispersed on the night of December 22 last year. The failure to reach a consensus over the 2020 budget was the main reason for the dissolution of the government. So what happened? On April 9, 2019, Israel went to polls as Netanyahu hoped to be re-elected as the country's prime minister despite being alleged of corruption. Both Netanyahu and his main rival Benny Gantz finished neck and neck with 35 seats each. However, despite winning 35 seats, Netanyahu failed to obtain the numbers required to form the government, resulting in a second election. The second election was conducted on September 17. Now, even the second poll was a tight race between Netanyahu and Gantz, in which Netanyahu won 32 seats while his opponent won 33. Netanyahu tried to form an alliance with Gantz as he proposed the formation of a unity government. Gantz refused to join hands with Netanyahu. Now, even though both had the backing of smaller parties, neither could form a government. However, before the third elections were announced, Prime Minister Netanyahu was charged with bribery, fraud, and breach of trust, making him the first sitting Prime Minister to face a trial. On March 2, 2020, Israel went to polls for the third time. This time, Netanyahu's Likud party won 36 seats, while his rival Benny Gantz's party won 33. Gantz, who was backed by 61 lawmakers, failed to form a government. But something unexpected happened. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Israel was locked down. The country also faced a severe economic crisis. Now, after negotiations, both Netanyahu and Gantz agreed to form an emergency unity government. Now, Netanyahu would be the prime minister for 18 months, after which Gantz will take over for the rest of the term. However, a failure to agree on the 2020 budget resulted in the dissolution of the government. And voila, Israel now has a fourth election. Now, who are Netanyahu's main challengers? Well, Benny Gantz, who was Netanyahu's main rival, looks to be out of the picture this time. There won't be any neck-and-neck scenario in the fourth elections. Why? It is because of his agreement with Netanyahu. Yes, as he had formed a unity government with Netanyahu, his popularity has been fractured according to recent polls. So, who are Netanyahu's main opponents? Take a look. First is Yair Lapid. 57-year-old Yair Lapid heads the centrist party Yesh Atid, which in English means there is a future. A couple of years ago, Lapid was working as Netanyahu's finance minister. Now, before coming into mainstream politics, Lapid was a successful journalist and a television host. He wants to bring sanity back to the country. Second is Naftali Bennett. 48-year-old Naftali Bennett was a former aide of Netanyahu, who was also the country's defense minister. Bennett is a millionaire who heads the Yamina party. Although his party is relatively small compared to Netanyahu's party, he is expected to be the kingmaker. The third is Gideon Sa. 54-year-old Gideon Sa is a former Netanyahu loyalist and a former cabinet minister. He split from Netanyahu's Likud party and blamed him for turning the party into a personality cult. His campaign focuses mainly on running a clean government and jump-starting the Israeli economy. What have the exit polls predicted? The exit polls of the 2021 Israel prime ministerial elections are out, and it is not looking good for Netanyahu. The exit polls from Israel's television channels have predicted that Netanyahu's right bloc will win around 59 to 60 seats. This will only be possible if Netanyahu manages to convince his former aide Naftali Bennett to join forces. It is a known fact that in the past, Exit polls by Israeli television channels have been highly unreliable. But this did not stop Netanyahu from declaring a victory, who tweeted, and I quote, "This is a huge victory for the right wing." The country has also seen protests from thousands of people who do not want Netanyahu to return as the country's prime minister. The actual poll results will most likely be announced on Friday as Israel uses paper ballots to cast votes. If you think Netanyahu will come back as the Prime Minister of Israel, let us know in the comment section down below. If you like this content, do give this video a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to TV9 News on all the social media platforms. Thank you for watching and have a great day.